You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Do you want to feel weird? Do you want to feel old? So, Apple just took off iPods this year. And I am finding out they came out in 2001. Like, honestly, how is that?
Honestly, I thought that they'd been discontinued, like, way before now.
What's up, Johnny? Like, I'm so in shock. I am liking and sharing it right now. I'm in shock. Like, I had an iPod. They were bulky iPods. Like,
I always wanted a Zoom.
Zune? With an N or an M?
I think it's an N.
Oh my God, was it Zoom or Zune?
I think Zoom is a show that I watched as a child.
Like Dune?
No. It was a kid's show.
Oh, okay. I actually have a book that looks like a kid's book that's not a kid's book.
Yeah, see, Edward, I thought they were gone a long time ago because I don't think I've seen someone use one that wasn't ancient.
Well, they always had the square ones, the little square ones that were touch. Those were still around. Those are the ones that they discontinued.
But they hadn't come out with, like,
what are they called? The shuffles?
Sure.
I'm in shock. Welcome. Yes. As you see, Mr. Producer doing the professional thing. Welcome in, everyone. Don't forget to like, thumbs up, heart, sub, share. Don't feed Mogwais after midnight and all that jazz.
I mean, to be fair, I'm still buying CDs.
I still buy CDs.
Records and VHSs. I want to get into Laserdisc. I don't think it's ever too late.
I don't think it's ever too late. I still like my records. I need to get more. The only two records I have right now are both Cheech and Chong records.
I think I just have the soundtrack to Cannibal Ferox and a Calabrese record. And I only got that because it's like see-through green.
Ooh, that's cool.
And I got their cassette tape.
Well, it hurts my soul knowing that it's just, Cool Team and T-shirt. Also, new trailer for Mutant is coming. That's right. So this is the front of the shirt. Here's the back of the shirt. CDs. Wow, haven't bought a CD since the 90s. Okay, well, how are you supposed to listen to music in the car when the radio doesn't work?
I was actually mad when I got my newer car and it didn't have a CD player. I was like, what do I do? And yeah, like, well, you've got a phone, and it's like
yeah,
my mom and the dealer was like, oh, well, you've got a phone. I was like, I don't have any music on my phone. I have CDs.
I have a whole thing of mixed CDs that I keep in my car in the door that I just rotate. Although I mostly listen to this one that has M on it, where it's just like a bunch of wrestling and punk music on it.
Yeah.
Yes. MP3s is all I've listened to. Laserdisc are like VHS tapes, but without the tapes. Ooh. Laserdisc is excellent to get into. One of the few places you can get the original Star Wars: A New Hope. Thanks, Chris. Look at that. We're learning all kinds of things. Let's talk about things. There was a lot of books this week, as you can see. There was a lot of number 2s and number 3s, but there was also a lot of number 1s. And
5 and 4.
Yeah.
And 4.
And 4. And 4. And 4.
Yeah,
which a lot of number 4s.
These are wrapped up too.
Oh, so. No, that's right. We finished up some ones. Mm-hmm. I think you read a couple more than me. Do you want to start off?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, I am really glad that I wore my Baphomet earrings today.
Oh, yeah.
Because the theme of all the books I read was Satan.
Oh, wow. I don't know too like that.
So, black tape number 4. We're going to start off with some Satan worship and some rituals. And, yeah. So, the whole plot of Black Tape is the singer famous singer dies, and he has one last tape that his girlfriend's looking for, and she knew that it wasn't supposed to be for, like, production. It was, like, supposed to just be his thing. And she ends up finding some weird stuff that was pretty obviously like, oh, this is messed up, whatever's going on.
Oh.
And then it turns out her whole group around her, and that were, like, his friends and his agent and all that stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, dude, like, he chose you.
Oh,
like,
you were chosen.
This is a whole ritual thing that we're, like, planning.
I love Rude.
Yeah. So it's a whole thing. It's really good.
Ah, the cake is a lie.
It is a lie.
Honestly, I hope the Justice Ducks teams, oh my goodness, arc with the new Darkwing Duck comics leads to actual Justice Ducks comic series in the Dynamite comics. Then I hope to see Mighty Ducks comics run one day. Yes, Mighty Ducks. I love Mighty Ducks. And then there was that cartoon where they were actually ducks.
Yeah,
that was fun.
But yeah, and this is the last one. There's only 4 issues. It's a short story. So, and it's fun and Satan and ritualistic.
All aside.
And there's nudity, Edward. So there you go.
Oh, if we're gonna talk about nudity, should we talk about possible? Well, and of course without nudity.
Okay.
Yes. Exorcists Never Die.
Is this the book that you were talking about earlier that had? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Exorcists Never Die, number 2. So in the first one, we see that they had just defeated Sloth and they start making out. This book picks up where they're making out, and then they get sideways with their making out, and then they start falling into the floor. And I'm like, my bros, you're literally in the middle of defeating a bunch of demons and the 7 deadly sins. What are you doing?
Committing the sin of lust.
Committing the sin of lust because lust swallows them up.
Nice.
They fall down, like they're making out, like nom, 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 nom. And then they fall down and they're like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this right now. Like, oh, but it feels so good. And then they're like, now, wait a minute. I hate you. Oh, but I hate you. Oh, but this is lovely. And you're like, okay. And then all of a sudden, all the walls are like mushy and like flesh. And they look up and there's a giant face just being like, well, hello there. Tuesday. Fish Taco Tuesday. Yeah, and they're like, oh, it's a giant face. And so one dude, they finally stop making out and other things. And he just like punches him in the face. And then Lust just starts laughing at them. And he's like, yeah, every time you touch my skin, we have babies. And it's just hundreds of demons pop out as fetuses and then grow into demons instantly. And he's like, don't kill our children. And you're like, oh my God.
It's like New Fear Unlocked.
Yes, it is. Yes, it was. Every time they tried to hit him, it would just spurt out a bunch of baby demons and be like, and he was all like, look at our children. Don't kill our children. Because that's our children. Every time you touch me, we're having children's. And you're like, and so they try to use these 2 angels, which another thing I really like is biblically accurate angels in this book. I really like that. Because they are terrifying. There's a lot of eyes. Like, why do angels need that many eyes? I don't know. It didn't work, so then they have to figure out something else to do without actually hitting him. So there's trying to take out all the demons while being inside of him. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there may be a hint of betrayal. Hint. 'Tis a hint of it. So I really like where this book is going.
Nice. Yeah. Also, I just thought of something. I kind of want to draw a biblically accurate angel, but with the Corinthian eyes.
Yeah. Oh my God. That would be like, because the one where it's like just a whole ball of eyes and flames, and then they would be teeth eyes. Oh. Yeah. New Nightmare Unlocked.
I love it.
Oh, new Nightmare Unlocked.
New sweet dream unlocked for me.
Oh, yes.
So another thing that has wrapped up. Sandman Universe, Dead Boy Detectives, number 5. I think it's number 5, right? 6.
6. Oh, wow.
I know numbers.
Just 1 or 9.
Yes. I mean, if you turn it upside down,
it's a 9.
It's 9. But yeah.
Sounds like my parents.
So, Dead Boy Detectives. There's ghosts where there shouldn't be, like different types of ghosts where there shouldn't be.
Rude.
And these 2 Dead Boy Detectives have to solve a mystery. And in this one, they get to the bottom of it. Obviously, it's the last one, and it's wrapped up really nicely. sacrifices are made, and new rules have been bent and or broken, and stuff is going to continue to be messed up. But you know, the storyline's done. And there is a little like cameo of someone else from the Sandman universe. It's not My Precious Baby.
Aww.
But it's another one that like people actually like. Like not a bad person. And then this story goes directly into Nightmare Country Glass House. But you can read all of these separately and not be lost. It's just like, oh, bonus story.
Oh.
Because Nightmare Country led right into this one.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it's really good. 10 out of 10. Would read and cry over again. Because I think the 4th issue just killed me. It's so sad.
Let's talk about a number 1. Let's do Storm number 1. Story number 1. I was not the biggest fan of the art style in this. It was very retro in the way that it was, and it was kind of hard for the eye to follow. And we get a full backstory from kind of Kitty, kind of like poking at Storm, being like, "Hey, you keep changing things every 5 seconds. How can I follow you as a leader?" And it's like, well, you know, people evolve and, you know, change and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, so and then we get some fan service, which means they all went to the beach. They're all in their bathing suits at the beach. And the Undertow takes Storm. And she's like, why can't I control this? What is going on? And she gets out of the water and she gets on her motorcycle and rides off. And then more things happen. And she's very confused. And now it looks like there's a villain that's trying to make her look like the villain. I'm not sure how she's going to handle that.
Probably upsetted.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit annoyed.
Yeah.
A little bit annoyed.
Just a little bit. What's the Forged? Or what are you going to do next?
Well, since you said it, I'll do that.
Because I feel like I keep reading it and I can't.
Okay. This is the Forged issue 3.
Hey, Kenneth.
Is big book.
It's a big book.
Which even if like for the first two issues, for some reason I could not follow along with it. Like I liked looking at it because the
beautiful art.
The art is amazing. Yeah. Especially since sometimes with some, like maybe this is more exclusive to video games, but like with war and action and stuff, sometimes they just get grayed out. Or they're like a lot of cool tones, and this is very like bright and in your face and awesome. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just finally starting to learn to read, so it's starting to make sense to me. But so like the Forged, they had a mission on a planet, but that mission was a lie.
That was a lie.
And their support ship crashes into the planet. And then it turns out that instead of finding like the black box for another crash ship, they find what they call in this universe a Cassandra. And those are like precog telepaths. Like they got super powerful minds.
Oh. And
they can be like, hey, I can make you feel really good, or I can hurt you. Just with like giving you new memories or going back into yours, doing weird stuff. But the Forged and Cassandras are clones of Her Majesty. They're just different ranks. Well, Cassandras they're not even in military for service. They're just a thing. So, and on this planet, they've come across these aliens for the first time in like a very, very long time, and they're like giant worms. And it looks like they took possession of like some humans to be able to converse with the Forged and the Cassandra, since they speak English. And it looks like those worms, they're like, you're not intelligent beings. Like, we're mad at you. We're going to kill you.
The worms are going to kill them?
Yeah, I mean, the whole planet's worms. Well, not like literally made of worms, but there's a lot of worms, and there's not that many Forged and stuff. Yeah. And it turns out like the worms are mad because people in this universe were terraforming that planet.
Oh.
And then being like, hey, this toxic waste, just take it. We don't want it. This is yours now. Enjoy. So, yeah. There's a lot of like killing planets and stuff just as a general theme.
Okay.
Yeah. But I love the art in it. It's amazing.
Nice. And the cake is a lie, remember? It's not red velvet over here. No. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever should I talk about next? There were so many books. Oh my goodness. I don't even fathom. I can't even fathom what I read. Okay. Hunt.Kill.Repeat. Number 3.
Don't read what Edward said. As you're turning it, advise you not to.
That's clever, though, a way to say it, though. That is a very clever way to say it.
Don't give him credit.
You have to give credit where credit is due.
No, you don't.
Well,
wait, I've never paid my credit card companies. My credit's been due for ages.
All right, Hunt.Kill.Repeat number 3 from Mad Cave. All right, so it opens up with a scene with Artemis and Apollo. Artemis is teaching Apollo how to hunt when they were like kids. And then they come back, and Apollo is there talking with the Big Daddy Zeus. And he's like, well, she took out Aphrodite. Artemis was always my favorite for a reason. And Apollo was like, look, I get it, Dad. She was your favorite. Well, now she's not one of us, so get over it. I'm going to go see Hermes and his wife. You remember then. And Zeus is like, oh, I love it. And then we flash over. Artemis is in the middle of stealing some armor for one of their mind control dudes. And she won't take off the scarf. And I'm like, dude, you can hide the scarf better. I'm so sorry your husbando's dead. But please hide his scarf better because you're trying to infiltrate this giant thing full of an army. Maybe hide the scarf or not wear it into the giant army thing.
That's fine.
She takes out 2 dudes and they instantly recognize her as, oh, scarf. It's instantly they saw the scarf and they were like, outside clothing is not part of the uniform. And then she has to fight the whole army. And she's just trying to make her way down to see Uncle Hades, who is... Uncle Hades has no cares of what Zeus is doing with the earth.
Well,
He's
yeah.
just like, oh, my favorite niece. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, he only cares about the volcanoes, and that's it.
Oh, and then we meet cute giant baby, Servius. Oh, so cute. He's so big.
He's a little baby.
He's a big baby.
Little baby.
Big baby. He's the size of a building with 3 heads that's missing a lot, no skin or fur.
Little
He is
building.
big baby.
Little building.
Big baby.
Little baby.
Big baby.
All dogs are little.
He's 1,000 years old, or more than that. He is big baby.
All dogs are little and puppies.
All dogs are big babies and little babies. All dogs are baby.
I will concede to all dogs are babies.
All dogs are baby. Haha. Got it.
All dogs
Looks
are
like a
babies.
Yes. All right. But yeah, I'm definitely really liking where this is going, especially because Hades literally is like, oh, I don't care. Oh, and there's a huge, he be spitting truth. Artemis didn't know some things, and Hades is like, ha ha ha, ha, here's the tea. Ha 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 ha. And you're like, oh, Hades, you sassy thing, you.
That feels very on brand for some reason.
And his giant black wings were really nice, too. But yeah, definitely pick it up. We're meeting all the gods. It's great.
Yeah. This is Feeder, and this is actually number 1. So, I feel like I had seen covers for this for a little bit. I had no idea what it was going to be. I was thinking oh, well, maybe it's a vampire type thing or something, because that's just obvious.
I thought it was going to be parasites.
Yeah, well, the thing is that something is mentioned, but it's not really talked about. But anyway, it's about this guy, Lee Kidd, who is a famous movie star. He's known for being the Royal, which I'm assuming is a big action type star. And he wanted to go off and do something else. He's like, do I always have to be the Royal? Can't I just be I don't know, something else?
Oh, I do want to be something
Yeah,
else.
and his agent is like, don't you do this. The movie that you're picking is going to flop. Do not do this. He's like, I'm gonna do it.
No, do we?
They're giving me a producer credit. So yeah, that flops, and he becomes box office poison. And then he goes to crime.
I guess that's a good way to take a different turn for a different role.
Yeah, but people are like, oh, well, so you're just like trying to get the money that I owe to this dude. Well, that's fine, right? And he's like, I don't pick up money for him.
Oh,
So that's not what I do for him.
oh my
Goodbye. But yeah, which it seems like his other, like, the bad dudes that he's hanging out with are part of the movie industry, and it's like, okay.
What are you guys
Weird.
trying to say about the movie industry? Now I have questions.
But yeah, I like it. I'm really curious as to where this is going to go, because things are, like, talked about a little bit, and it's like, okay, what does this mean, though? Like, why does he need to take pills? Like, what is it for?
He's a parasite!
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know yet. This is issue 1.
Oh, okay. Alright. Let's talk about the weekly book, guys. This is coming out weekly. So it's getting to be much for me, but it's coming out weekly. This is Spider-Man 2099, Dark Genesis, number 4. This is coming out weekly.
That's fine.
There are so many new characters in this series, I had to write it down. Hold on. That's like half a page of new characters in this one bloody book. All right. Here it is. All right, are you ready? These are all new 2099 characters in this book. Not new, but newly written. Blade, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Venom, Trickster. Oh, I can't read what I wrote there. Carnage, Moon Knight, Flipside, Punisher, Ghost Rider, and then there's a new character introduced at the end that I can't say because it would be a spoiler. There's a whole bunch of new characters. A whole bunch of bloody... It's a lot of blood because Carnage gets hungry. And then Ghost Rider, as we found out in his last series of Ghost Rider 2099, he is no longer part of the Spire, so his powers are limited. But he's still Fire Baby. I will admit to that. Ghost Rider's still Fire Baby. And all the things that are getting touched with Carnage's blood are turning into part of a hive where all their skin's being ripped apart and then they just want to eat people and the whole city is getting torn apart. Also, Flipside is trying to use his face teeth to eat people now. He's supposed to be Team Spider-Man. Now he's trying to eat people with his face teeth.
Well, face teeth sounds like I'd probably like him as a character.
I really hope that Boom Studios and IDW does an ongoing TMNT series with the Turtles of Dimension. Oh my god, that would be so cool because I know they're having the crossover. Actually, I think the crossover just wrapped up. The Power Rangers TMNT. Yeah, so they keep introducing new characters. I've actually had to write it down just to try and keep up with it. But let me see, is Flipside on the cover? Where are you? He's not on the cover. Moon Knight, Spider-Man, Blade, Daredevil, Venom, Carnage. Those are all on the cover. Yeah, Flipside be eating people with his face teeth. Or trying to. Oh, I forgot. Punisher 2099 is a lot more violent than past Punishers in the fact that he just likes shooting. He doesn't care if you're one of the innocent people there or not.
Oh, okay. It was like,
if you're in the way of his enemy, he's going to shoot you to get to his enemy.
Anything I've been exposed to with Punisher, he's pretty violent anyway. So
yeah, but this time it feels like it's towards innocent people. Like they were trying to get out of the way of the hive.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're part of the hive, you're part of the hive. Maybe.
They weren't though.
But
I think
if you get touched by it and become part of it.
Ooh, yes, that would be fun. It'd probably be a while though, since they did just wrap up the second series. But yeah, I'm kind of enjoying it. It is kind of a lot to do weekly though. I do prefer a monthly comic or a bi, but doing it every single week does feel like it's kind of taxing. Finally a Punisher I can relate to. Ha 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 ha. All right, what's next?
Okay, I'll go ahead and do this.
Okay. Venom to Venom.
Yes. Extreme Venomverse issue 2. So in this, there's a Carnage that's like going around to all the different Earths and stuff and just being like, hey, I'm killing all the Venoms. Just, at least that's what I gather.
Yeah.
So it starts off, like, there's 3 different stories. I think that's how it's going to be in each one of these.
Okay. Wait, how did Carnage get the power to jump universes?
questions.
I'm not a Carnage expert.
Okay. We'll find
I
out
didn't go to
probably in the future then.
Carnage U. I was gonna make a Carnegie Hall joke, but then I realized that doesn't make sense with the university. Anyway, so it starts off with a black cat stealing a symbiote suit from, is it Reed Richards? Is that who?
Oh, rude.
Is that who Mr. Fantastic is?
Yes, it's
Okay,
Reed
okay.
Richards.
And like she's all mad at Spider-Man because Mary Jane, she's all like, so yeah. So then she gets the suit. It's attached to her now, and she can control it really well.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, and then it goes to this prison with a fake Brock that was luring the Venom suit to him, and then it's a Venom that has like a laser gun.
Where did he get a laser gun? Man, the multiverse is strange sometimes.
I don't know, man. It's like some sort of high-tech prison. He becomes like a high-tech Venom, and fights a Carnage. And then it goes to Earth 311, I guess, where it's like medieval times.
Wow. Wow.
And there's a jester, and he's the last of his profession, and he's a Venom.
What?
Yeah, and like the court is just like, oh, this is so entertaining. What a silly jester. Yeah. And then like a fancy Venom that's called the Red Death. Or not the Venom Carnage that's known as the Red Death. It is like, I'm gonna take care of this one. I've been hunting down every jester from here to Spain, and I finally found you.
Oh my god. Did he just assume all the jesters had Venom?
That was
symbiotes?
my assumption.
Wow.
But I don't know if they actually did or if it's just a coincidence.
I have no words.
But yeah, I really liked the Jester Venom. It was fun. He looked like
Is that the one that's the one with all the stuff on the top of his head?
Yeah, because that would be the Jester hat.
Oh, I see it. He's got
And you
the yes. I like
liked
that
it.
actually.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that in real life now. Somebody make a Jester Venom outfit. All right, this is Super Massive from Image.
It's super and massive.
It's the annual 2023. I don't know if you guys have kept up with Radiant Black, Radiant Pink, or Solar. No, that's not the other one. What's the third one's name? I don't know. Radiant Red, maybe? Because there's a red one, a pink one, and a black one. And the black one right now is going in between two guys. I have notes on it. There it is. Okay, yeah, it's red, pink, and black, and Rogue Sun. That's what it's called, Rogue Sun. Rogue Sun talks Radiant Black into going to find the Holy Grail.
Like the actual Holy Grail?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they get there, and they get tested by this new character in a bunch of different trials. And Radiant Pink, she's sick and tired of their shenanigans, so she jumps down there to try and stop them, because she got roped into the trials now too. So now they're in these like big trials in this giant hall of trying to figure out if they are worthy heroes of Earth or not.
A hall of trials.
Pink's not happy. She's very pissed off about this. She kept telling them, why can't you leave it alone so we can just be heroes? Like, why do you need to test that you're a hero? And then the two dudes that are Radiant Black are just like, that's not what we were here. We were just here trying to get the Holy Grail. And then Solar is all like, or not Solar. Rogue Sun is like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. And the other three are like, why? Why?
You go into a hall, you get tested. That's what happens every single time.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, yeah, I wanted to lure you guys here because, the heroes of Earth need to be tested every so often. It's like there haven't been heroes of Earth since the last time in, like, ancient Greece, and all them people died during the trials. So why did you drag us to these trials? And then, so they're in this giant hall that's like a cave-like hall, and this, like, super, like, she almost looks like the sun. Like, she's so bright. She looks like the sun. And
Radiant?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I see what they did there now. I see you now. And she just, like, in their minds, transforms them to different locations. And it They're just like, dude, teleportation. She's like, it's not teleportation. It's your mind. And then Pink's just like, yeah. It was super relatable. And the ending, I did not actually see that ending happening. The cake is a lie.
Life is a lie.
Yes, it is. So definitely pick it up. It's a one-shot. It's a big crossover of all of them. It's the annual. So pick it up when you get a chance.
Yeah.
This cake is a lie. This isn't actually here. My red velvet with buttercream frosting. It's all a lie.
It is. But this isn't. This is based on reality. Blue Book issue 4. I mean, it is based on a true story. So, in this issue, Betty is doing the hypnosis therapy thing so that maybe she can recall some memories.
Why would you want to remember?
Because she wants to feel like she's not crazy too. Because
We're all crazy.
but her and her husband are having different experiences.
Oh.
So they're they're both doing the therapies and stuff and just trying to figure it out. So her experience with the aliens and being abducted was way more vivid in her retelling of it than what Barney's was. And even in the thing, like, the aliens are like, dude, I know you're going to try to remember, but your husband will not remember.
Right.
We try to make sure that you won't, but your husband absolutely will not. And even if he does, it'll be a different experience.
Oh.
So, you might as well not tell anyone that any of this happened because people are going to think you're crazy. Like, no one's going to believe you.
We're all crazy down here.
Yeah. Except, down here, like on Earth. Except, I mean, in real life, people believed them enough for, like the Air Force to investigate it. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and then at the end of each of these issues, they have another just a story from weird history. And this one was this Cinder Woman, and it's about spontaneous combustion, or spontaneous human combustion, more specifically.
I remember the Cinder Girl being a much different story.
Well, there's multiple spontaneous combustion stories.
Oh, okay. See, when I think Cinder, it's an old fairy tale of a little girl who dies
Oh, no.
in the cold
No, this is
and
different.
goes to heaven because it's warm.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
No, this one's it's still about a warm woman because it's spontaneous human combustion.
But she got sent back to Earth because she was too young to be in heaven.
Well,
But then she kept freezing every winter. So it's a cautious fairy tale of the Cinder Girl. What is the English translation, actually?
I don't know.
Matchbox Girl?
Maybe.
Matchstick Girl?
We'll have to look it up later.
Ah! Sorry, you said Cinder Woman, and I was like...
Yeah, I think that's what it was called. I think that's what that specific story was called. Because they always...
Spontaneous combustion. What is the science behind it? Like, I want to someday be able to have time to sit down and, look at the science behind it.
Yeah, Cinder Woman. They actually do talk about that a little bit because they talk about the investigations and how, some people weren't satisfied with whatever options they were being given for this woman that just suddenly,
Burst into flames.
Yeah, and parts of her are completely untouched, parts of the room just not touched at all.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Where does it come from? The inside?
It's typically the top half that's completely just gone and cindered, and
just having
and then you got a leg that's
fiery
not.
lights.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Oh yeah. All right, let's talk about Terrorwar number 2. This one didn't have a whole lot of words in it. Okay, so not a whole lot of words in here. There's a lot of fighting.
Nice.
Oh, I see what you did there. Hold on. I have to. Delicious not cake. I found my way to torture him.
You realize that you're torturing me as well.
I'm sorry.
I can't believe you.
All right, Terrorwar. So it picks up exactly where the first one left off, where these two groups of dudes are like, "Hey, I killed that person," and then, so our group of dudes just took out this thing, right? Evil. No, I mean we all have to have our moments. There's no break in this show, Ed. So our group of dudes just took out the big bads, right? Remember the giant thing where it's your nightmare come true? And then they took him out. They're ready to like take their proof that they took him out, and then they want to go get the bounty or the money. And the other group shows up and it was like, haha, it's going to be our money. So they start fighting, and then they realize they're kind of evenly matched. And if they don't stop, they're all going to get arrested, and then no money for nobody. So they all just like leave, and nobody gets money. Our group of guys goes to a bar to like chill out after a big fight. And then all of a sudden somebody has a terror, and it's just everything's on fire. Cool. Everything's on fire. They can't get out of the fire, and guess what? That other group of dudes that they were fighting with shows up and helps them fight that fire with the terror of nightmares, and not everybody makes it out. And that was kind of a slap in the face, because I did not think, and I thought that was the one dude. I thought that was the one dude that was going to be the whole thing. No, he's dead now. He's dead.
You gonna need those later?
No.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't need that one. I need that one. Rude.
I like it rude.
People die in the mirror. I see what you did there.
Okay. Okay. I'm over it.
Furry number 1.
By the way, she literally picked this book to call it Furry.
Starring Nick Fury.
She literally picked to read this book just so she could say furry.
Because honestly, anytime I see the word Fury, my brain says furry. So Nick Fury.
Nick Furry. Okay, here we go. Tell me more about the furries.
Okay. So it starts out with Nick Fury's going after Scorpio, who's trying to get the Zodiac key. And while he's doing his investigation to figure out who Scorpio is, he goes through old family history. So he's reading he's reading other Nick Fury comics.
Oh, okay.
So you get like origin stories of like, oh, okay, this is what the Zodiac key is, or like this is where it came from and stuff like that. And at the beginning they do have a little brief like, oh, this is who Nick Fury is. Like,
Oh, okay.
So if you've never read anything Nick Fury, then you're good. You're not going to be completely lost. It's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting.
No missing much. Okay.
It's okay.
Just give it all the ammo, huh?
Yeah.
All right. What do I have?
Well, Nick Fury had a lot of ammo.
Nick Fury had a lot of ammo.
Nick Fury, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Let's do it.
Sorry.
That's great. We all needed that moment. I'll say thank you. That's what it says. That's Belle the Shape of Fear, another one shot, because that's what they're doing instead of having series. They're having one shots. Oh, I wrote that in capitals, so I must have been really upset about this. Why is the house on a cliff with stilts barely holding it up?
You were angry about that. You yelled it.
I was very angry because it opens up and there it is, this really cute house, and then you see the back of it and it's just like 3 or 4 stilts holding the whole house up on the edge of the cliff.
That's probably fine.
No!
Yeah.
No! Okay, so like...
People live like that.
No, it's not. So, yeah, I wrote that in capitals actually in my notes. Like, why is the house on stilts? Like, why? Take it off the cliff. Move somewhere else.
The shape of fear is my house falling off a cliff.
A bunch of furry Grubelfafa. Oh my god, I actually need to read you guys something. So Dirk Manning was here Friday, and he wrote a custom story from Mr. Ree about Grubelfafa.
Nice.
On the blank cover that we got because we all wore the Dirk Manning shirts.
That's pretty hilarious.
So I need to bring that and like read it for you guys. Unless Jay has it, then whatever. Let's talk. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Belle.
Belle. Yep.
Every time she falls asleep, she's falling into a nightmare world, and the nightmare world is all like, "Yo, bro, you're not supposed to be here, and we're not actually nightmares." And she's like, "Then why do you keep trying to kill me?"
And they're like, well, you're not supposed to be here. This is the unconscious like realm. This is where all the bits and pieces of dreams and nightmares come to die and create their own universe, whatever. But yeah, it's this character that's on the cover. We don't have a name for her. She's a la new. We don't know. We know nothing. And yeah, so she's not happy. Oh, Hershey shows up. Hershey is her pet turtle. He's like this big, but in her dream, he's a big boy. He's big. Like half the world could fit on him. And he's adorable, and I love him, and I want a Hershey. Jay, can we have a turtle?
You guys have turtles in the backyard.
Yeah, in the backyard.
I mean, they're basically yours. Possession is 9/10
We
of the
leave
law.
Jeffrey out of this.
I'm just saying. Possession's 9/10 of the law.
I did
Backyard.
post a video of him on TikTok where he's just, because we have this one part of the yard that kind of like floods a little bit, and it's only like this big, and he gets into it and he's just swimming in it. It was so adorable.
Nice.
And then he ran off. Jeffrey, come back! But yeah, I want one, and I want to name him Hershey. You have a Han Puppo. I do have a Han Puppo, and he's really good to turtles. He does. He sniffs them and then licks them like a weirdo. Yeah, so this is leading up to something. I know it is. All these one-shots that they're doing and side stories that they're doing, there's like the same baddie showed up in this one that showed up in the Cinderella one and showed up in the oh my god, what was the other one? Was it Mystere?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, I know that one came out. But
there's like one overarching baddie in the background of everything, and we haven't like met them, but we keep kind of seeing them in all these one-offs. So it's like, okay, quit trying to kill everybody and try and kill everybody.
I thought I had read a while ago that they were gonna do another huge crossover.
Yeah.
Thing, so
Like I said, this is another step in that. Yeah, that's it. Okay. having a day.
aren't we all?
15 minutes. 3 books.
Yeah, I think after this one I'll have 3 books as well.
Okay.
So Daredevil and Echo, number 1. So this starts off like it goes back and forth between the past and present. When I say past, I mean like 1835.
Oh, really?
So, and it still all takes place in Hell's Kitchen, but it's basically like, oh yeah, this place has always been cursed and terrible. Like terrible things always happen here.
That sounds
And,
all right.
like what's happening in the present is mirroring the past. But this was another book with a demon. So
Nice.
yeah, other terrible things, but there's like there's a murder going on, and this thing or someone or something is taking a pound of flesh, but kind of literally. So I don't know why I did quotes. But it's the same murders that happened in 1835, so it's just
Rude.
yeah. So Daredevil and Echo are trying to figure it out, just like people in the past are also trying to figure it out at the same time.
I wonder if this is just like an anniversary of a demon thingy coming up.
Maybe.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Vampirella versus the Superpowers. By the way, do not try and do this pose. I tried. I threw out my hip. Alfie had to help me to stand up.
You will die.
You will die if you try and do this pose. Should have recorded me trying to do it. Because I went down to the ground. So that's actually set in 1948. Yeah, 1948. Oh, this was the one that I actually yelled about. The other one I muttered. This one I yelled about. Why were there bodies on the ceiling?
No, you yelled about Belle.
I did? Okay.
And Exorcists Never Die.
A lot of these books made me just like yell out loud. I always feel bad for Alfie because we sit at the table and read, and I'm always yelling something at a book, and like I hate that. She's always like, "What?" And I'm like, "Why?" I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. They open up. These 2 detectives are trying to like figure out why there's dead bodies and blood all over. Does she remind you of someone? Her face looks so familiar on that cover, but I can't think of who.
She reminds me of a classic starlet, like maybe a Bond girl or something.
Oh, she does kind of. I don't know. She does.
Got maybe a little young Elizabeth Taylor in there.
Yeah, I can see that. Young Elizabeth Taylor. Okay. I see that. Okay, so it's set 1948. It opens up with two detectives walking into this diner. Dead bodies everywhere, blood everywhere. Why were there dead bodies on the ceiling? Just right there, just outlines of dead bodies and like, oh, look at that. Somebody died up there. And look at that. There's a, I'll think of it at 4 a.m., right? And then they're just like, oh, well, time to do some detective work. And then it flashes over to this kind of like nightclub that they had. And Vampirella is wearing this beautiful dress. And she's singing. And then there's like people in the bar. And they're just like, oh, yay, that was good singing. You're so hot. And she's like, you specifically, dude at the bar who's getting drunk. What the hell's wrong with you? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he transforms into big dude. And they start fighting, and she has to throw him out of the bar to sober up. And then the police that, enforce law amongst supernatural beings are like, hey, you can't do that. And she's like, why can't I do that? As, the bar I'm singing at, and I had to play security. And so, yeah, then she starts fighting amongst them. They start fighting with her. It was kind of nice. Looks like there is somebody going around, like, killing people, making it look like her or the superpowers are doing it, because she's actually friends with some of the dudes that are in the group of the superpowers. This also had dossiers, kind of like every few pages there was like a dossier that you could read about what had happened before, and also to like bring you up to speed on each of the characters and stuff. And I thought that was nice. Yeah,
Pretty cool.
So I don't know why it says versus, because she's totes besties with like 3 of them.
Maybe it'll be versus soon.
Oh, maybe you're right. Now I can't stop looking at it.
This is We Are Scarlet Twilight. Issue 1. However, I do feel like there was probably a story arc before this, because it has a
Which one?
We Are Scarlet Twilight.
Huh.
Because it has a previously on.
Oh.
Looks like it takes place in 1935, and it does have that old-timey comic feel. Like it even has like and next time on the adventures.
Oh my.
Yeah, like it's that type of thing.
That's a fine how do you do.
Captain Lancet was investigating this cult called Scarlet Twilight, and it looks like he kind of got down to the bottom of, or closer to, like, okay, who's behind this? Who's my enemy? What's happening? And it looks like he's a vampire. And I guess his archenemy right now is Madame Satanica.
What?
Satanica?
Satanica?
Yeah. It's got
Madame Satanica.
It's got Satan in the name. My books were Satan centric this week. But yeah, it looks interesting. I like the feel of it. It's really fun, and it feels like an old timey comic book, but with a lot more Satan and demons, which is my vibe.
Yeah. That book was made for you.
It was.
Specifically. They're like, oh, let's make Alfie a book.
Yeah.
Especially because it's Red 5, and Red 5 is based here, and the head of Red 5 is Josh Starnes, who comes to the store all the time.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah. I guess it's my turn.
Yes.
Let's talk this one. This was probably the cutest book. It's a Riot-verse book, and it's Keeper of the Cosmos #1 from Scout. All right. You see the teddy bear? He's a unibear, because he's a giant teddy bear, but he's also got a unicorn horn, right? He gets arrested, and he has literally 1,500 charges against him of things like murder, obstruction of justice, fire. No, why would you burn down the building? Lots of bad things. He did a lot of, like, I think one of them was actually genocide. Like, he did some bad things. And then he pleads guilty to all of it. Yeah, he pleaded guilty to all of it. And he goes into jail, and he calls his old friends, which was so weird. Because in this group is made up of a superhero who spends all of his time in his room doing onesies.
Okay.
And a princess who has a bloodlust that likes to take people out. A unibear, yes, who likes to go to places and cut people up. because it's funsies for her. And then like there's also this giant blob who likes to shoot things up that's only held together by the vest he's wearing. And he's kind of adorable. Like it's this dude. He's just
Nice.
Yep. And so they're teaming up and they're gonna go try and resave him. But the person that put him in jail or in the prison and also death row now, likes to get his head sucked.
Okay.
He spent 3 pages talking about it.
All right.
Yeah. And then he also started talking about how he made up all the charges to try and get him in prison because he's part fluff, part pirate.
Okay.
This was an interesting book. I actually really liked it. I was a little confused on a couple of things. I feel like they're going to flesh out and explore some more things because it feels like the 3 of them used to be part of a crew. Like, actually, it feels like all of these people on this cover used to be a crew together and run together, like Robin Hood style, like take out the baddies to save the goodies. Like, it was nice. But they have names, like the name of the prison that he's on death row for is Teddy Bear Junction.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. So the name of the story arc of this one is saving the bear from Teddy Bear Junction.
I like that.
Or saving a friend from Teddy Bear Junction. That's what it is. So I whined enough that Amy is making me a pineapple upside down cake. So thank you for the inspiration, Jenna. But you're still evil. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't give you any inspiration.
I'm going to go ahead and talk about my last 2 books so then we can both freak out about Harrower. Okay. So, The Neighbors, issue 3. The town's getting weirder, and their daughter is like suddenly taller. So it's like, I really don't think this is our kid. And the wife is like, dude, you're losing your mind. You're mentally unwell. I can't deal with this anymore.
Oh, snap.
But the town is like really weird. Like, one of them lit up a cigarette, and she's like, we don't do that here. Like, what do you mean? We like to keep our town clean. And it's just like,
okay.
Like, all right, whatever. It's weird. I'm excited for it. And I really love the art in it. Okay.
Is the art like what's on the cover?
No, it's a little bit more like cartoony.
Oh, okay.
And this is Nightclub issue 5. Which is Mark Millar, which I love him, everything he's doing. He's going to do a huge crossover.
Paris Hilton!
Oh, I can see it.
With dark hair because of the nose.
I guess so.
You're right, Jay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Anyway, Nightclub, we learn Detective Lorette. We learn the detective's origin story and how he became a vampire, and he's the one that turned one of the kids. And it's a whole thing. And we learn about the biker gang, the vampire biker gang, and now it's getting to a point now where the kids are gonna have to like make some really tough decisions.
Oh.
And I'm really digging it.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Are we ready to talk about?
Yes.
I think probably both of our pick of the week.
Probably.
Harrower.
Yes.
Number 4.
Yep, and this is the last one.
Is the last one of the series. How can we talk about it without spoiling anything?
Just stuff is bad.
Stuff's bad. And apparently it's been bad for how many years? I wrote it down. Hold on. 400 years they've been doing this to kids and teenagers.
Yeah, it's just bad stuff,
One dude is the dude that makes the horror. Makes the bad guy. Okay?
But, yeah.
There's one way to wrap up stuff. That's all I've got to say. Like,
yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting the twists and stuff, to be honest.
there's 2 twists in this book.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be something else, a little bit more predictable, and then it's like, no, it's this. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
There will be more. Are you for sure there's going to be more? Because it says the end. It says the end at the end of it. Okay? It says the end. Ending. No question mark. It says the end, period.
I guess there could always be more, but I feel like if they continue with this story, it's gonna jump the shark.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah. I was kind of upset. So the survivor, she doesn't want anything to do with what the town is doing. But then that thing happens.
Yeah.
So how
Which
did she become
we
that
can't.
thing that happens? No.
We can't.
No. I know, Jay, that ending. Like, this is going to be a book we're probably going to talk about for a while.
I feel I'm fine with that ending.
But
How did they make her do the thing?
I'll tell you.
Oh, okay. Later. Got it.
Because they hinted at it.
I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not. I don't spoil things. I've been doing the show for a couple years now. I don't ever spoil anything. This is a spoiler-free show.
Sometimes.
99.9% of the time. It's a spoiler-free show. Oh, that ending, though. That double twist gutted me. And I'm going to go back and reread all of it again. It's good. It's so good. So good. If I have to pick number ones for my pick of the week, it was probably Cosmos. But my overall pick of the week was probably Harrower. Been reading this for months and I still can't say the name. And also, Marvel, please stop doing weekly books. I'm exhausted. I like bi-weekly or monthly, please. Let's go back to that.
The Extreme Venomverse might also be weekly because I feel like I read the first one last week.
Yeah. It feels like a lot of the Marvel books are about to become weekly, and that's... People don't have that kind of money.
And Sandman Universe, I need you to stop ending things.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Granted, it does nicely wrap up a story arc, and I feel like they could do more with the Dead Boys, maybe. And now we're going into the Corinthians, so it's all good.
It's all good. You're going to see Sweet Baby Boy next time. Oh, I'll be so happy.
Yeah. I mean, Nightmare Country Glasshouse is so good.
Harrower. But there's no I, so it's Har, right? So it's Harrower. Anywho, I've been Jenna.
It's English. It doesn't make sense.
I don't understand.
I'm Alfie. I don't either.
This is Minute to Skim It. This has been Minute to Skim It. We'll catch you guys next week. Also, there's going to be no Thursday What's in the Box because Comic Palooza is this weekend, so we will be there instead.
I'll be at home.
I'll be at Comic Palooza. Not working. Well, some work, but just I will be enjoying Comic Palooza to the full that I deserve.
I'll be watching Renfield.
Jay still hasn't watched it. We have it, like, it's able to stream now.
Like 20 times.
I need him to sit down and watch it with me either tonight or tomorrow.
It's so
good. All right, guys. Bye.